Hello, welcome to our special edition. My name is Anastasia Lorena, and today with me here I have a very distinguished guest, Ms. Susan Ness, former U.S. Federal Communications Commissioner, non-resident senior fellow at Atlantic Council. Warm welcome to our studio.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much. Today you had a chance to moderate a very interesting panel discussion, New Technologies for New World. And I guess the development of the AI, it's one of the topics to be addressed in many specific directions. The challenges the governments face, the priorities they have, and the expectations for the future. Therefore, given the rapid development of the AI, how should policymakers strike a balance between fostering innovations and implementing necessary safeguards?
It is a really tough balancing act that's going to require governments, civil society, academics, technicians, and tech companies to really work together to address some of these issues, because the potential harms are so great. It is an asymmetrical relationship. That is, you don't have to be a government. You can be a small individual. It doesn't take a lot of money to be able to take a system and cause great harm. And so we need to be able to identify what those risks are, and at the same time, not be so cautious as to prevent this incredible development of technology, which has enormous ability to benefit humanity in so many different ways. And so what we heard about today was what the UN is doing, what some of the organizations that are part of the UN are doing, what folks who are affiliated with regulatory authorities are doing to try to address these issues. We talked a lot about the EU AI Act, and which is now in force, and what that means, whether they're going to be able to identify the risks out there and address them in a meaningful way. So we had a lot of different conversations, but it's going to take a wide assortment of people with the ability to think about the core of humanity as being the key to get us through this process so that we can advance on technology for the benefit of humanity.
Right. How do you think, what is the best way for, let's say, United States of America to develop the cooperation with the EU, with other countries in the world, to make sure that we have very smooth process transition from what we already have on the agenda and for the future expectations and developments we may see in 5 or 10 years, let's say?
I can't talk about the current administration because I don't know what they're going to be doing as far as technology and AI is concerned. They're only in office for a short period of time. But I can say in the past that the US government has been working with Europe, has been working with other regional organizations on technology and working with the UN. Right now, we are looking at the ability of education to help bring different governments along. And I was so happy on the panel to have the conversation with your director for digital technology in Azerbaijan, who was talking about how they are also working with other governments in the region to enable them to advance more rapidly with systems that are benefiting society. And then you also have other organizations that are working on specific areas. Healthcare, for example, huge advances that are enabling scientists to discover cures for diseases that would have taken decades to do, but can be done now in such a short period of time because of AI. So sharing some of those issues. And then we had someone else on the panel from Montenegro talking about concern about making sure that the education process moves ahead so that people can take advantage of these things, that we don't have discrimination and bias in the systems. That's very important, because if the data going into an AI system is corrupted with lots of misinformation, disinformation, bias against races, biased against geographic areas, the information coming out is also going to be less than effective. So we had all of those conversations going on today.
Well, indeed, very interesting. And you previously mentioned human rights. The citizens in many countries are curious how the AI development may also affect the human rights protection for the future. So how do you think the governments may work in the right way to secure these both directions?
Human rights is very important. It's certainly a fundamental issue at the United Nations and the United Nations entities that are working on artificial intelligence issues. And part of that, once again, is trying to make sure that data collection is free of bias, is available, that the services are available to everyone. All of those issues are very important.
You know, AnewZ, very interesting questions. You know, when we are talking about AI and the future development, some can be curious how it will affect the rate of employment in the future, whether it will sustain the employability of the people, or it will change the global market. So with your broad experience, what will be your answer on that?
It is one of the fundamental concerns about AI. It has the capability of replacing human beings. We just saw recently the introduction of a new system. It's still in beta form, meaning that it's still being tested. It's not reliable yet, from China, that would take a problem and a complex problem, divided in many different component parts, do subunits that go out and figure it out, and then basically carry out a whole bunch of functions without human beings, except for the very beginning asking the question, being involved in this whole process. And that is a huge advance. What that means for people who are working in problem solving and the like, number one, they'll have a great assistant to be able to do that, so they will be able to accomplish more, but they can accomplish those things with fewer people. So then the question is, how can we retrain people whose jobs are no longer needed to accomplish what they had done before, and put them in a more productive position elsewhere? And that's going to be a challenge that governments and society will have to address. And we're not there yet.
And my last but not least question. Global Baku Forum brings together so many experts from the globe, and AI, its future expectations and challenges are on the agenda. Therefore, what impressed you more while you're here, especially from the AI technological development here in Baku, in Azerbaijan? You say that you had a chance to listen what's happening here.
I was very impressed when we had the gentleman who handles AI for the Fourth Industrial Service here in Azerbaijan, in Baku, talking about all of the things that your government system can do, from beginning at birth, even immediately giving little babies bank accounts and other things, one-stop shopping, being able to address concerns of people when they are coming through, sorting through all of those hundreds of thousands of comments and actually figuring out what needs to be done. All of that, I thought, was absolutely fascinating. And what is also exciting is that technology is being shared with other countries in the region. Uzbekistan has the ability to use some of that system as well. And it's that sharing that I think is going to help this region advance. I know Estonia has a similar system that is very focused on citizen having access to information through technology. Hopefully some bigger countries like the United States might develop our systems, which right now are very antiquated in comparison to even to Azerbaijan. He was saying that you can get a visa here in very short order where it used to take a long period of time. And I think these are things that can benefit society. And it's exciting to have that example be set here in Azerbaijan.
Well, thank you so much for joining our discussion today, sharing with us your valuable experience and also answering our, I would say, tough questions. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.